What will we be learning? We'll be learning how to use the scumbling technique with colored pencils. We'll continue to practice layering and blending with colored pencils. If you have the supplies at home, you can try out using a splatter technique using paint. We're gonna have to make some decisions and make a creative concept for our art for this project, and you'll see what I mean later. And we are going to link our learning in sky science to our artwork. So these are the materials that we're going to need. So you'll need colored pencils, your visual journal, a Sharpie, and a pencil. And it is optional if you have white acrylic paint or a white paint marker. Even a whiteout marker would work. But something to add the stars. But you don't have to add stars on your galaxy if you don't have access to those materials. It'll still work without those materials. Those are optional. So galaxies, let's kind of talk a little bit about why they look the way they look. So galaxies contain stars, gas, dust, dark matter, but mostly they're empty space. And interestingly, the galaxies that we can see using the Hubble telescope are only a small fraction of the galaxies that are out there in space. Galaxies generally come in 3 different sort of varieties. So there's a spiral variety, which is what the Milky Way galaxy is, and it has those arms that are spreading out from a center. There's an elliptical gallery, which is kind of like a single oval-shaped cloud. And then there's the irregular galaxy, they don't follow a particular shape or structure that we can recognize. So we are not the only ones to be making art about galaxies. So an astronomer named Alex Parker created a photo collage using images from the Hubble telescope in 2012. And this is what it looks like. So this is a photo collage reproduction of the painting Starry Night by Vincent van Gogh. So really cool, but it's even cooler when you look at it close up. So there is a detail of the photo collage, and wow, beautiful. And we're gonna be kind of drawing our inspiration from another artist named Taylor Humby. So he creates watercolor illustrations of galaxies, similar to what you're seeing here. So a lot of them are like within an everyday object, or there's some sort of creative way that he's chosen to present the galaxy. And just one thing that I wanted to point out, the galaxies that are done either by colored pencils or by watercolor that look the most realistic are the ones that have the most contrast. So paying attention to how this artist has used those darker areas around in certain spots and combines dark and light areas is really what makes those pop and look really realistic. So think about that for when you're doing your art. So these are both by Taylor Humby as well. So just really cool concepts and ideas. And a couple more here. So we're going to be thinking of an object or something that we can have a galaxy inside. I'll show you what my choice for my concept was and provide some ideas and reference images for you to use as well. So let's get started. So make sure you have your materials ready to go and we will get going. I'm starting out with a page on my visual journal, and I'm gonna try to this time not fill the whole page with my drawing, because doing these galaxies with pencil crayons is very it takes a long time to do a large area. So I'm gonna try to keep my drawing sort of smaller, trying to center it in the middle of the page as much as I can. So this is the reference image I'm using. And my idea is that I'm going to have the galaxy in her hair. And so I'm going to have the hair like floating behind her. I think I might have seen that online somewhere, but I just thought that would be a really cool idea. So remember, your job is to kind of come up with a concept or idea. I've provided some reference images, and you can do one of those, or you can just kind of do your own thing. So I'm just starting out by drawing simple shapes. So I'm just placing a circle or an oval for where the face is going to be. And now I'm trying to figure out what the shape of the hair is going to be. So this took me quite a while, and I struggled a little bit with it, but I just used light pressure with my pencil so that I could easily make changes to my drawing and come up with something that I'm happy with before I start coloring. So my biggest suggestion in this time where you're sketching out your idea is to use a reference image. You may have to make changes to your image, like how I made changes to the hair, but at least you have something to look at to kind of get what the basic shapes and forms should look like. So I am happy with my drawing now. So I'm going to use a extra fine tip Sharpie, and I'm just going to outline my design. So I'm just going to have a simple line drawing, no shading or anything. And then inside the hair, I'm going to start doing my colored pencil galaxy. So I will continue to outline this drawing, and I'll meet back up when I'm ready to start with the pencil crayons. Okay, so I've selected some pencil crayons that are analogous colors. So I've chosen yellow, orange, red, and purple. So those are ones that are beside each other on the color wheel. And I also have grabbed a navy blue, or like a dark blue, and I have my black and white over here. So you don't need to choose the same colors that I did. You just need to make sure that they're kind of close to each other on the color wheel. So you could do greens and yellows and turquoise. You could do purples and blues and pinks. Just kind of choose some colors that are analogous. Now ready to start laying down my first layer of color. I'm using the scumbling technique. Notice how my hand is moving in a circular motion, and I'm doing sort of little scribbles, little circular scribbles of color. I'm making them quite loose for the first layer, and I'm just kind of creating my own cloud-like shape. So I'm kind of thinking of an irregular gallery. A regular galaxy. I'm not doing a spiral galaxy or an elliptical galaxy, or like looking at an image of a galaxy, although I feel like it could be very helpful to look at a reference image of a galaxy to sort of help you to decide sort of where your cloud-like shapes should go. So I'm thinking of the fact as well that contrast is important. So I'm starting off with the dark blue, and I'm going to have some black go beside the dark blue, and I'm going to have the black and the dark blue dominating the space here, because I want to have more dark areas than light areas, and that way those light areas are going to provide a lot of contrast. The other reason is that I'm going to be doing those stars using my white paint marker, and I know that those are going to show up better on the dark areas. So just something to think about as you're laying down these cloud-like shapes of color using the scumbling technique. So let's fill this up. So I'm going to just go from, I'm going to have dark black, and then I'm going to have dark blue, and then I'm going to have purple, and then red, and then orange, and then yellow. I'm going to go from those darker colors to the lighter colors and just fill in the whole space. So my first layer is now done, and now I'm going to start doing another layer, and this time I'm going to be pressing slightly more. I'm going to add slightly more pressure, and I'm going to sort of be trying to blend the colors together. So I'm building up the opacity. Opacity is how transparent something is. So I want my coloring in the very end when I'm done to be very opaque. Like you can't see any of the white paper underneath at all. And so I'm just going to build up my layers of pencil crayon and go back and forth. There's a lot of back and forth happening with the different colors. So that's why I have in my left hand, or my non-dominant hand, I have all the colors that I'm using, and then I just swap out the ones that I'm ready to use. And I'm still doing the scumbling technique. So doing that circular motion with your pencil crayon is going to make sure that you're not going to get any streaks, and you're not going to really get any pencil marks in the end. It's just going to look sort of like a uniform area of color. Another tip that is helpful is you can use the white pencil crayon as sort of a blender to help pull all the colors together. And I am varying the amount of pressure. So sometimes I'm doing heavy pressure when I'm trying to fill and build the opacity. And then when I'm trying to blend, that's when I'm using light pressure with my pencil crayon. So I'm trying to make it a gradual change from one color to another. Okay, so now I have that whole area kind of complete, and the opacity is as dark as I kind of want it to be. So I'm going to go over with the white pencil crayon to blend all those colors together and make those lights lighter, and the darks are going to get a little bit lighter too, but if you need to, you can go over top of the dark blue or the black after you do this process to make them a bit darker. Remember, we're aiming for contrast. So this is going to just be a time lapse of me doing the exact same process to the remainder of the drawing. Okay, so we're done. It looks amazing as it is, so you can stop here, or if you have access to a paint marker, or even, like I mentioned earlier, a whiteout pen, you can use those to add stars to your galaxy. So I'm just doing sort of these little dots, trying to make some darker, some lighter with my paint marker. Okay, another option is you could use some white acrylic paint, and I've added some water to it. And I'm going to do the splatter technique. So I'm just going to cover up the other spots of my drawing that I don't want to get the splatter onto. And then I'm going to tap the brush. I'm not going to put it up and back, because that's going to spray paint all over my room. So I'm just going to tap the brush with my finger, and then as long as the paint is watery enough, it should start splattering. And you can do more or less stars depending on what you decide to do for your own artwork. And then you're going to let it dry and see what you think of it after that. So that's it. Can't wait to see what you come up with. Thanks for watching.